In 1976, a new musical opened at the Lyceum Theater, but it had been kicking around pre-Broadway runs at the Alliance in Atlanta at a good speed, as well as in Washington, D.C., San Francisco, and Los Angeles. The show was Something's Afoot. It was an Agatha Christie murder mystery whodunit musical.
Old rich Lord Dudley had died, and a cast of British stock characters gathered at his mansion to settle his will. One by one, they all began getting knocked off in crazy ways. There was an exploding staircase, an electrocuting light switch, and someone was ground to death by a giant bass. This is my favorite. The Wikipedia page for Something's Afoot lists all the characters and then their vocal parts and how they die.
Because when you're auditioning, that's really important to know. It's
kind of amazing. Something's Afoot used a pull quote from Clive Barnes in all of their ads. I don't know if you're ready for this. The quote that they used in all their ads was, "The audience adored the show," Clive Barnes. The actual quote was, "The audience adored the show." It was a little misguided perhaps because the music is terrible, the lyrics clumsy, and the point of the production is camp taken to lengths almost as distasteful as they are ridiculous.
But you did say the audience adored the show. The show stars included Tessie O'Shea as Miss Tweed. In New York Magazine, Alan Rich said, "Miss O'Shea, of notable memory, gets through this show on the mistaken faith that a set of overlarge dentures is what today's theatergoer has been eagerly waiting to applaud." A 28-year-old Gary Beach received great reviews. Meg Bussert was an understudy, and Willard Beckham played the juvenile, Jeffrey, and would later go on to write Lucky Guy.
It's crazy. Willard Beckham was actually working on Lucky Guy while Something's Afoot was going on in the 70s, and it made it to New York so many years later. The New Amsterdam News said, "Something's Afoot is the most delightfully funny spoof of murder mysteries I've ever seen. It is not, nor does it pretend to be, a sophisticated piece of theater. Rather, it is a delicious loop of enjoyment, a theatrical raspberry." There were several people who enjoyed it. New York Magazine said, "The book music and lyrics are not even bottom drawer, but rather out from under the floorboards." The New York Post was somewhere in between with, "Something's Afoot may be as memorable as lunch, but it is a nice enough way to break up the day." Critics were just like, this is before blogs, and I feel like critics were a little more like off the cuff, which is kind of cool. Enough critics thought that the show was out of place on Broadway to cause it to close after only 2 months, but the show has become a huge cult staple in schools and community theaters. There are some posters from some community theater.
There's some trading cards. Now, one problem the production couldn't overcome was that the music thinned out over the course of the evening, as every time a character died, there was one less voice in the ensemble. Also, people tended to die after their big number, so as soon as you were enjoying someone's big solo spot, you knew they were a goner. But, as critic Chip Orton said, "Too many critics put down shows that are meant to be nothing but pure entertainment. The audience loved the show. The outstanding cast gave some of the funniest performances on Broadway, and the show is nothing but pure joy. People who have done Something's Afoot themselves tend to agree that it is one of their favorite musicals." Here to sing from the show, Melissa Rapelje and Kenny Francoeur.
There's a boat.
Eh?
I said, there's a boat. I almost forgot its existence, but it's sitting there ready to use. It's still capable of distance, so step right up and put on your cruising shoes.